Hey, man, you ever watch the Tweety bird? Man, that bird messed up my life and schnitz. I want nothing to do with anything yellow, not drink lemonade nor look at my whiz anymore after what that bird did to me and my family. I ended up selling my house and traveling around the country in an RV just to avoid it. But it often flies up to my window, carrying a knife and staring at me with menacing eyes, flapping its wings, and mocking me by pretending to be a Thanksgiving turkey or a festive chicken. But man, it's just a nasty frickin' Tweety bird, and it wants to carve up my limbs and toss me in a box and put me on display at the local Safeway. Enough of that. Here's my story. I got the VHS tape by Five Finger discounting it, or really, I broke into an abandoned Blockbuster on a $5 bet with an old friend. Threw a rock through the glass and cut up my arms and legs some on the broken shards, but that was no consequence because I picked up the Tweety Bird VHS before my homie could light the place on fire and claim the insurance money. He used to run the place, still paying taxes on it, thanks Obama, peace be unto him. I threw some 20-year expired Blockbuster movie theater buttered popcorn into the microwave and pressed play on the microwave in the VCR. The Tweety Bird VHS started to play, and quite honestly, I wish it didn't. Woe is me for owning a working VHS player. A fate worse than death. Open the door! Fish police! Huh? There was a knock on Tweety Bird and Sylvester's door. I'll fucking get it, meowed out Sylvester, huh? Sylvester the pussycat busted open Tweety Bird's cage. He had a horribly demented look in his eyes, spiraling like psychedelic Twizzlers, or my junk after my ex twisted it off after discovering I frequent countless ladies of the night. Sylvester! Oh no! Sly Stallone clawed open the cage with his paws and thrusted the Tweety Bird exactly into his jagged, sanded down feline incisors. I tore a putty cat. Ah! Oh my God! Avian blood and guts splurted out all over the place while Sylvester the cat licked up the slithered entrails and turned on the TV and watched some Friskies World commercials. I wish I was just like all the other cats, Sylvester remarks, spitting like an undesirable lard ass social outcast as usual. Dr. Robotnik. Instead, I sit here. Oh my gosh, I have to take a shit. Sylvester the cat got up and went to the toilet. A knock on the door happened again. I said Inspector Gill, not inspect her gills, John Ritter shouted. What did this have to do with anything? A toilet flush was heard, and Sylvester the cat's teeth were brown, and he was using a toothpick. Oh my gosh, Sylvester the cat had eaten his own feces. It wasn't enough to eat him once. I had to eat him twice. No. How did he how did he digest the Tweety bird so fast? I rewound the tape and recognized a calendar at the beginning, and then fast forwarded and freeze framed and found my answer. It had been 5 months. The fish police guy was still knocking at the door. Listen, I understand this was just a cartoon, but if a narrative isn't coherent, I just want nothing to do with it. It's clearly just total nonsense, no deeper concepts at play. I'm a above that. I upload videos to a YouTube channel no one remembers anymore because so many people have plagiarized me that they forget that I was the source of their original misty eyed, elven spirited entertainment. I ain't no pixie. I'm no bald fat man writing mediocre songs in my 90s for your stupid fucking amusement. I'm a grown ass man and I have feelings. Sylvester the cat spat on the floor and ate it, and then he took his shit on the floor. The fish man finally busts through the door 5 years later and shot Sylvester in the face because Sylvester had black fur mixed in with his white fur, and apparently fish are a bunch of fucking racists. I was disgusted at this hate crime and turned the tape off. I picked it up and threw it out my own window, breaking the window. I was still at Blockbuster. It was my home for the past 15 years, or so it had been, because as I mentioned before, I live in an RV now like a genuine American folk hero. Duck Dynasty, fruck you. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably Adolf Hitler crashing into the World Trade Center in a UFO. Moxie, moxie me. There was a teeny tiny tap on the door. I swung the knob wide open. I had greased the knob with chicken grease to prevent my opening it, so I licked my hand as I was starving. Oh no, it was the Tweety bird. I taw, putty tat, Tweety bird explained before swooping down from the outside door head jam and attempting to peck out my glass eyes. I shoved the bird away and it flew headfirst into a car window. Birds are so stupid that they can't tell the difference between air and glass. I laughed at it before it pulled itself up off the ground and walked over to me using its wings as legs and oh my gosh, it pecked me right in the dick. My dick. My foreskin fell off. Tweety Bird had administered me a circumcision. I taw, bureaucrat, Tweety Bird exclaimed, picking up gasoline and a box of Acme matches and setting the local Blockbuster on fire. I tried to stop the fire, I really did, but Tweety Bird swooped onto my head and picked into my scalp until the skull exposed, and I pecked down, I fell down and hit the asphalt head first and fell unconscious. When I woke up, I was sitting in a giant bird's nest. A massive yellow bird, a large yellow canary with massive expressive eyes and a lengthy neck, a red neckerchief and a straw hat, and even a red and blue necktie. It was feeding me large spaghetti like worms that squirmed around in red blood sauce. Please don't, I don't want to die, the worm mumbled reluctantly. A bomb that I had planted earlier exploded, and the bird went up in assorted feathers and heart and liver chunks, like when you feed a seagull Alka Seltzer. I was spared because I was hiding underneath the nest, cowering in fear. When I woke up, I was on a mixed use block featuring commercial buildings and brownstones, an urban inner city landscape. Was that a woolly mammoth? Why? Why did that green grass looking homeless man in the trash can stare at me like he wanted me to fruck off and die? A PBS employee handed me my lines, but I was too traumatized to read the script. We had been we had been bought out by Big Pharma. They killed Big Bird. A puppeteer stuck a cold, moisty hand up my butthole, and I let out a scream. When I woke up, I was back at Blockbuster. No, it was an FYE. I was inside the mall. It was all just a really bad dream. He has no home here. The pockmark acne scar teenage boy exclaimed before smacking me in the head with a lead pipe for wearing a MAGA hat that I picked up at the homeless shelter at church. The cops were called and the mess got sorted out. They said it was a rather fishy situation. It would take about 5 years to file the paperwork and have the guy formally arrested. When I left the police station, oh no. Oh no. Whoa. I saw an orange man. That was kind of a reach. Oh no, Tweety Bird swooped down and flew into my mouth and stabbed out my teeth with its beak. I ran. I ran faster than a flock of seagulls, picking up the bloody 2 shards and hopping into the nearest RV, speeding away for sweet freedom. I could see Sylvester the cat behind me. He was foaming at the mouth. Sylvester the cat had rabies, or more particularly, was possessed by the Tweety Bird. Why not a girl? Tweety Bird exclaimed, shitting all over my RV as I kept on speeding away in search of a new land, a new home, a new shelter. It's 5 more years until the fishy police catch up with me. Whatever you do, don't eat fish out of a trash can, and don't take it while an officer is watching, and don't put your heart in a cage. I always loved you, but you never listened to what I had to say. You can infantilize the world with children's television programming and engage in lack of sustenance as a fasting ritual to see things as they truly are. But color is an illusion based on interpretations of wavelength, and I have no chance of ever living like a normal person because of permanent brain damage from several cells damaged in my brain, perhaps sometime before or sometime after I was born. But it is of no consequence now. Heart in a cage, the world is a vampire. Heart in a cage. Stop spitting when you talk. You sound like Sylvester.